I just did 10 minutes of B-roll and exposition, and none of it got recorded. I'm so thrilled with myself. This is going to be a new kind of episode for me. Thank you for tuning in to The Pretty Little Death. I am going to do my 2025 reading wrap-up. Never done one before. That's why this is a new episode for me. Oh, I have to do all that B-roll again, don't I? Okay. So what is this? I read over 300 books this year, and the way Kindle Insights works is it will only count the books that you have newly read. So if it is a title that you read before in a previous year or read earlier in the year, it will not count it again. So even though Kindle shows that I have read 100 or 318 books, I think it is. I'm going to pop it up on the screen. I've actually read more than that this year, and that's not counting the audiobooks or the physical books. So what did I learn in my year of reading almost a book a day? We're going to talk about it, that's for sure. There's good and bad, and I was going to have 10 of the best books that I read and 10 of the worst books that I read, because 318 books, I think it was, that's a lot. And there's a lot there. And there's still over 700 unread books on this Kindle. So, if you guys have been with us for a while, you know this is actually my second Kindle. The bestie has the other one because it has KU on it. And if there is a book that we highly recommend, we definitely tell her to read it, and then she has a chance to. So, I read 318 books plus, and trying to find 10 of the best and 10 of the worst did not work. I have a really good ability to retain details of things. But that being said, 318 books was a lot of books, and I wasn't able to pull 20. I was only able to pull 12. So we're going to go through the 12 most noteworthy books that I read last year, good and bad. But before we get into that, I want to share what I learned. We as a group, as a community, have been given a lot of things in the literary marketplace. And one of the things that I routinely found myself coming up against was AI slop. It is so common to find stuff that isn't actually written by anyone. It's generated by an AI generator. Maybe some prompts are put in and something is spit out. This year, I also competed in a couple of writing contests. There was one of my submissions already up on the channel. I really appreciate it if you guys left a comment, listened to it, whatever. It did not win. I didn't even get past the first round. So, on either one of them, actually, now that I think about it, which will lead me into something my husband said I should do this coming season, because some of these aren't going to be put into effect until the next season. Aside from AI, we also need to recognize that the literary world has kind of changed in how things are done. And because it hasn't necessarily changed for the better in some aspects, it gives us substandard items to read. And that is also very prevalent, especially in the KU marketplace. You can have your opinions about Kindle publishing. I know I do. as someone who published something, it's not great. It's not great, but I also see that it has a place and that it can be used to a benefit. Someone who is writing full-time, that is their profession, the only thing they do. You don't necessarily see their books on KU. Let's be frank, okay? You're not going to find Dune on KU. You're going to have to purchase that book. Robert Jordan stuff you can find on KU, which I do find surprising, but it's also an Amazon show. So the Wheel of Time series is available on KU. I know because I'm reading it with my husband. And I think that's the only reason you can get it for free as a KU member is because it is an Amazon show. But because of the readily available, ease of access way to publish your work through the Kindle publishing house, we have been given crap. And I read a lot of crap. So much crap that only 7 of the items that I'm going to share with you today were memorable. Almost all of them have the same hit points, have the same issues, and it got boring very quickly. My opinion is that part of the issue is that publishers like KU and some of these other independent houses aren't employing editors who are cutthroat enough to red pin manuscripts for the betterment of the story. Instead, we have ARC readers. And ARC readers are great if all you want to get is the temperature of how successful your book is. But if all you've been giving people are macaroni and cheese, they're going to just comment on how good your version of macaroni and cheese is, not really experiment with other types of cuisine. ARC readers should not be in place of an actual editor. There are a couple of cases that I'm going to talk about where ARC readers actually probably did a detriment to the written work. I also think that hopefully some of the people who are listening to this do care about the work that they're putting out and not just trying to make a buck just to make a buck, because this is a very lucrative genre of literature. It always has been and it always will be. Romance is the top earner of literature for a reason. We're a very hungry group for new work. However, I think that work needs to evolve. Maybe devolve, because some of the stuff from before was better. Yeah. I don't know. This is just what I have found in 318 titles this year. Okay, so let's start with what everybody I know probably was interested in listening to when they clicked on this video, which, again, thank you very much for subscribing. And if you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, comment, share. Join us on the Discord. I'm always on the Discord. I'm always posting things on the Discord. And when our episodes come out, there is always a link showing up in the Discord. So you don't even have to go and search for us. You can just click on the link and listen. Our podcast is there, as well as the YouTube channel. And if you are a paid member of our community, you get access to our post show. That's the only place you can get it. So you can listen to us everywhere. You're probably listening to us right now somewhere like YouTube or Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon. We're on Amazon as well. I didn't realize that, but Google. All major platforms for podcasts, you can find us. Okay, so because there are 12 titles, and 7 of them are the worst, and they are the worst because I could remember them, and that's how I know they're bad. We're gonna kind of switch off, I think, on the best and the worst, and because there are more worst than there are best, I'm gonna start with that. So, if you are listening to us, I'm sorry, I'm going to be posting pictures up in this episode right next to me. If you are interested in what the covers of these books look like, you can always find them on our Instagram. I did post a sneak peek with all 12 titles. So the very first one, these are actually in no particular order other than worst and best. The very first one is Between Two Kings. The Split or Swallow book. Oh my gosh. I had seen a reel about it and I was like, okay, we're gonna look at this one. And the bestie and I did, I believe, an episode about it, which you can find in our library. And it was almost as bad as the Anne Rice Sleeping Beauty series. Let's be real, okay? It was nonstop. It was a thick book. Even digitally, it was thick. But it was exciting and we were excited about the story. Even though it got pretty tedious at a point, we were still very interested in what was happening. And Between Two Kings was probably one of the most disappointing reads of the year for me. I don't think we did an episode on it. I don't know at this point. I can't remember, but it was not great, guys. They totally ruined the story that was building, and it felt like nothing was happening for so long that when the end finally happened, I immediately was like, I'm done for the night. I didn't even pick up another book. I immediately started talking with the bestie, and yeah, she hadn't finished it yet, but she was like, I'm not in like terribly enthused about finishing this book either. We don't know what happened with this one. I didn't look into what possibly could be the reason for such a character switch, but the characters just kind of died between book 1 and book 2, and it died in a way that could only have been done intentionally. Like, not, it was a character death, not necessarily an actual death in the story. Oh, I need more juice for this. This is gonna be a minute. Okay. No, I don't really drink except for when it's really cold, and that's cocoa with Bailey's, so you guys get to enjoy me sipping on pineapple juice this entire episode. Okay. There was so many things wrong that even thinking about it, I'm just thinking about scenes where it was like, okay, this wasn't necessary, that wasn't necessary, this absolutely added nothing to the story other than she learned more about the Basilisk culture, but even that seemed trite and contrived, and such a big disappointment. Honestly, it was not the biggest one, but it's probably the second biggest disappointment of the year. We were anticipating the second one because we wanted to see how it would work between our female main character and her 2 suitors. Oh, okay. I'm looking at my list, and now I have to go back and actually look at some of these stories because they're all just kind of like the bad ones are just bad. That's how bad is the details are getting mixed up in my head when I look at the different titles. So first bad one, yeah, Between Two Kings. Oh my gosh. Okay. Our first good one, Bride of Brutal Hearts. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have this absolute hatred of the one. Okay, I hate the one type stories. Our female main character happens to be the one to save the world, the one to stop whatever happening. And the the story of Bride of Brutal Hearts, it is a series. It's only got one right now, and this is the first book. Okay. No, this is going to be B-roll. I know it. So what is Bride of Brutal Hearts? Bride of Brutal Hearts is, I guess it is kind of a chosen one. This is probably one of the other kind of stories. Like there were some really good, this is a good one for a reason. It's another menage. Um another menage story. And they're they're fae, but they're not like glittery fae. Not really. Of course they're beautiful because they're fae. But they are also what keeps basically the darkness at bay. And they use a human to maintain a particular spell. I'm going to give a little synopsis so you understand why it's so good. But I don't think that's going to do it justice. It's just one of those books you're going to have to read, and I'm recommending it to everyone. And hopefully the next book comes out mid-year this year. I did sign up to be an ARC reader for that. Don't judge me. The whole thing, though, is there are two kings, and they are maintaining this spell by marrying a vessel. And her sister is called up in kind of this lottery type situation, but her sister is pregnant, and or maybe not pregnant, but trying to get pregnant and already married and happy. And she sacrifices herself kind of a la Hunger Games, and gets taken instead. And she has an illness. It's kind of alluded to as endometriosis. Um, and they kind of don't treat her like they treat the other vessels. And vessels can be male or female. Uh, they don't really treat her like the other vessels, the previous vessels. And also, they are lovers. So a true menage, like awesome kind of thing going on with this one. Props to representation. Um, and it kind of ends on a cliffhanger, and I'm actually really excited about going into the next one because I don't know exactly what's happening. And that's how I know it's a good book, is if it's logically don't know what's going on because the story is just going so well. Versus like I don't know what's going on because nothing is actually happening. A lot is happening in this, and it's really, really good, and I recommend it to everyone. So, A Bride of Brutal Hearts, very, very good. The Fae are kind of vampires, okay? I'm gonna be frank. So if vampires or Fae are your thing, this is definitely gonna tick some boxes. Let's move over to the next awful one. It's called Traitor, okay? This was an insufferable read. It's a motorcycle club type story, and it's classified as dark. Now, if you've listened to us for a while, you know that I really, really enjoy dark reads. If I need to take a break by reading something cozy, fluffy, some self-proclaimed rom-com, it's good because I enjoy those kind of things. I don't enjoy the fluffy, cozy rom-coms. Uh, any book that classifies itself as a rom-com, it doesn't come off as a comedy to me. It comes off as insipid. I hate them. Please see our Christmas special for more. But Traitor is this story about a girl who ends up running from one group into another, gets banished by this other group, gets found by somebody, by the first group, and tortured. And when she escapes again, she decides to take it out on the people that she had originally run to in the first place, who, after realizing that she didn't do anything wrong and they maybe misconstrued the situation, go and try and rescue her. And she ends up becoming a murder hobo and torturing the guy that she's actually in love with, who came back to rescue her. It's not dark. It's stupid. And it was so bad. It was so bad, guys. Oh my gosh. I had no idea what this was going into it. I just realized that I hadn't read a Motorcycle Club story in a while, and I thought, okay, let's change it up. It's still a dark read. We'll go into it. It's not dark. It's stupid, and it's horribly it was difficult to get through. I was finding other things to do than read. And if you can imagine, for someone who read 318 books this year, that is really difficult to do. Like, I think I played video games one day for 12 hours straight. I remember looking at my husband once I was done, and I was like, I can't believe I read that. And he just kind of laughed at me. He was like, I can't believe you're reading, period. Like, there are other things we could be doing. My husband loves his video games. He has his time to play his video games. I play video games too, believe it or not. I just rather cuddle with my cats in bed and read my books. Then, yeah. I played the hell out of Diablo 4. Yeah. Don't read Traitor. It's not good. There are other things that you could read much better. Much, much better. Okay. Going to another best. It's the only way I'm going to get through this is if I switch back and forth. Okay. Now I got to look it up. Okay. No. No, I don't. Okay. A Most Forgettable Girl. I have said this title so many times. Since I read it, I have recommended it to everyone. A Most Forgettable Girl. It is probably one of my favorite books this year. And I don't know when it was published. I don't have that information in front of me. But if you haven't read it, go and read A Most Forgettable Girl. It is clever. It has a plus size female main character who it's kind of got a little bit of a Clueless type trope to it. She's not really looking for love for herself. She knows she can't really have it, so she's helping other people matchmake. And it turns out she finds her match while doing that and changes, it's a very feel good. It's a very feel good story. Definitely read A Most Forgettable Girl. So my top 5 books are all books that I have rated 5 stars. And that says something. I love this book. I think I have recommended it to Nigel. I've recommended it to Cassie. I've put it all over the Discord. I told my boss, who doesn't read romance, she does the sci-fi stuff. I told her if she really wanted a good one, this was the one to do it. It is so good. And it's like 7th in a series or something like that. I haven't read any of the other ones, but I loved this one. This is like one of my number 1 books of the year. Okay. I don't know how else to describe it. It's kind of fantasy, but it's doesn't really have like magic in it. It's a fantasy world, but it's not magical fantasy. It's not a high fantasy. Very, very good. Um, if I remember correctly, it was less than 400 pages. I'll stick to that because I actually think it might have been around 300. Very good, very quick. It was available on KU. I don't know if you can get it through Libby. Um, I think Cass is actually listening to it on audiobook. It's very good. It's very, very good. Okay. Again, these are in no order other than best and worst. All right. I don't even have to look this one up. My next worst read of 2025. I can't even believe I finished it. This one I was hoping it was going to take a turn. Every time I turned a page, I was hoping it was going to turn. It's called A Wife for Silas. I like darks and I like voids. Nigel is currently starting on a void series. This was not any one of those. This this was a snuff book. And it was so jarring that I didn't even read the next one because there is another one where apparently the main character does finally make a turn, but he kills her in the end. Like the female main character is split point of view, and he does and absolutely no remorse about it. It was one of the worst ones I read this year. I don't I did not get it. It was a snuff book. It was not smut. It was snuff and erotica, and it. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Like it would it even now just thinking about it like makes me upset. It was that horrific. And it was like 250 pages long. I was just turning pages like thinking, okay, there's going to be a change. And I had to go back and reread the last chapter because I thought I had misread it. It was that bad. Yeah. Don't read A Wife for Silas. Yeah. Okay. Next best. I do like monsters. I know, shocking. Um, these next two, I'm gonna go for the first one. It was odd because, you don't normally get the female main character as the monster. And honestly, I kind of enjoy them more, I think. And I know I have a couple of them. I keep telling Nigel he needs to read Man Eater aloud. That's a monster book where she's the succubus and he's a human. It's very, very cute. And this one was different. Like she is a servant and an orc, and he is a human knight. And she realizes on a chance meeting that they are fated, and he doesn't know. And then he goes away, and she has to pretend like she never noticed him. and then he comes back and they come together, and it's so sweet. And of course, like there's angst in there because he's not a orc and can't be nearly as strong as what she's was expected to mate to, and it comes together so beautifully and so sweetly. And I don't necessarily classify this as a cozy romance, but it is very, very cozy. And it's a great read if you unfortunately read something like A Wife for Silas. Jump into something like Lady Orc, because Lady Orc was fantastic. It was a quick, enjoyable read, and it's not an everyday occurrence where the female is the monster. And I loved it. I absolutely adored it. Oh, this list is just going away so quickly. Okay. I'm saving the best disappointment for last, okay? The worst disappointment is going to be last, all right? And I have a feeling if you're longtime listeners, you know which one that is. But the next one is called Valhalla is Full of Hunks. Okay. Okay, so this, I don't even have to look it up because I remember how preposterous, and that was the whole reason I picked it up, and then it was just so bad. Um, okay, so the gods are real, and this woman decides to visit Scandinavia because she saw how good looking the men were on television, and she had a friend who hooked up with some monsters, and Greek monsters, and she was like, I want Viking monsters. So she goes to Scandinavia and seeks out Valhalla. There are heavy quotes for those who are listening. Very heavy quotes, okay? And she purposely gets kidnapped by them so she can seduce them. The premise was ridiculous enough for me to pick it up. And then I realized after I got halfway through, it wasn't very long. I think it was only 250 pages. I got like halfway through and I was like, this is awful. It's awful. Once she gets to the island and in their house, it's nonstop banging. It's just it, and there's no real plot to it. She achieves the major plot within the first half by getting to the island. If you need something that's just drivel, then this is a good one to go for, because there's no real heavy elements to it. It's so bad. For instance, one of the hunks is Fenrir, and the other one is the World Eater. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Oh, and her friend realizes that she's been missing after going to visit Scandinavia, so she and the Greek gods decide to show up. Yeah. I guess it was a prior book. It's awful. Okay. Okay, the next orc one. Okay. It's a book called War Maiden. Again, a lady orc. She is a warrior. She is the right hand of the orc king, who is her cousin. And she finds her mate, who is also a human knight, on the battlements in the middle of a battle. And because she is sworn,
I am sworn to carry your burdens,
to protect her cousin, she has to kill him. But she doesn't. She just mortally wounds him. And after the battle, she is able to squirrel him away and take care of him. And then they realize, because they are mortal enemies, she can't allow herself to get with him. But they do, obviously, because what else is going to happen? And then they decide to run away and leave all of their honor bound duties behind. Now, he is the brother of the queen whose castle they were infiltrating. She was married to a bad man. He decided to take up arms to protect his sister, not necessarily the king, and that's why he was there. So they are both under the impression that either her cousin is dead or his sister is dead, and either one of them are conquered. So they are trying to hide each other as they are tropsing across the land to get to his childhood home so they could hide out in the forest together because he has a secret area out there. And then some other things ensue and they come to realize that they can be together. It's very cute. It's a very, very good book. War Maiden, definitely recommend. Again, I don't know why I like the orcs so much. Usually they're like the big gruff kind of characters, and then they're just total sweethearts and it's so nice. Okay, that's the only fangirling you're gonna get from me. Is over the orcs. Yep. Okay. Back to awfuls. Okay. Okay. I actually got to pull this up because I can't remember what it is. I'm going to see it and then I'm going to know what it is, but bought. Okay, I thought this was going to go one way and it didn't, and then it just okay. So, an erotic dancer has an opportunity to make a lot of money by becoming, I think it's for like 6 months, becoming basically an escort. But it's an odd escort service. She is taken into a particular compound, into a particular house, and her clients come to her, but she's in like this commune of other escorts, and the tastes of their clientele are not normal type things. I thought this was gonna be, some kind of like dark rescue from indentured sexual servitude type deal. Um, it wasn't. It's a murder mystery. I don't really go for the suspense thrillers. Uh, Total left turn. And one of the most unsatisfactory endings I think I've ever read. She is able to escape at the end, but like nothing really makes sense on the conclusion of this story, and I think that's why it is so unsatisfactory. You think that she has some kind of help within the community she's in, and then you find out no, not at all. She walks away with absolutely nothing, I believe, at the end. When I finished this book, I was like, I can't believe I read that. I can't believe I wasted 12 hours on this. It felt like a bait and switch. I don't like that feeling when it comes to the books. I don't necessarily want to feel like I know how the story is going to go. But this one, it didn't make sense to me. Like, yeah. If I remember correctly, her contract's nilled. She doesn't get the payout or anything like that. She just kind of leaves. Which, honestly, good for her, because otherwise she might have ended up dead. But it was just one of those books that ended up scratching my head at the end. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. All right. So we only have 2 books left on our best of, and this one was this was a combo, and I don't mind combo books. What a combo book is this is like all of the series into one volume. And I actually kind of like that because it's not, I don't have to then wait. Like all of the stories there. That's fine. That's totally fine. Um so this one is, it's kind of a phase story, kind of. It's also kind of vampire-ish. We've got two kingdoms and a princess. Her brother is king on one side, and the dark kingdom is on the other. And basically, light is on one side and darkness is on the other. And the vampire fae kind of live in the dark, and the dark is encroaching on the light. And she happens to be a half breed of, like the humans and the vampire fae or whatever. And so her brother trades her to them to kind of try and keep the peace between the two. And of course, shenanigans entail. He is also the king, not the brother, but the vampire fae king is also in love with his knight, and he has to take this princess to wife, and they have to kind of live with that. But the knight also kind of falls in love with her. Again, same kind of hit points that we get in a lot of these stories. Very well done. I love the mystery that's going on, why things are happening. This was a good adventure romantasy. If you guys are like the Fae vampires, Fae/vampires, this is a very, very good read. And this particular one, like I said, the whole trilogy is in one volume. It's like 600 something pages. So, very, very good. I could not put it down. I did not know what was coming at the end, and I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised. Yeah, it was very good. It's very, very good. Read it. Most Forgettable Girl is still my favorite, though. Okay. We only got 3 more books, guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta look this one up because I know the title, but no, I don't. I'm missing the oh. It's not even loaded and I already remember which one this is. Okay. It's 394 pages and it did not feel like it. There was hardly anything to this. Um Wait, maybe this is not the one I thought it was. Not the one I thought it was at all. Um I gotta find that one now. This is not that one. Okay. The other one, I'm gonna find it and then I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna get you guys the title for it too. Um Now I feel dumb. Okay. This one was, I think it was 300 pages. It's set in Las Vegas. We've got a female main character who is like partially blind, has a house in the middle of like an underdeveloped place in Vegas that happens to also be land that this mafia guy wants so he can build a tunnel. And what does she use her land for? It's like a couple of acres, like maybe 10, 15 acres. She runs an animal rescue, like a shelter. She just finds strays and houses them at her house on her property. And she's blind, like legally blind. And he's out there to like persuade her to sell her property when he gets shot. So her blind ass goes out and drags him from outside into her house and patches him up, and they fall in love. And then other people are trying to like kill her because now she's part of this whole mess. She's like running around in the dark outside in the Vegas desert trying to protect animals, and she can't fucking see. I hated it so much. There was nothing else to it. There was nothing else to it. Like, he tries to pretend he's not this dude, this big gangster, and he's preying on her blindness to like protect him, but she knows who he is because she's not stupid. She's kind of stupid, but she's not stupid, so she knows who it is. Her friends are telling her who it is and how hot he is, and of course, like, she can't fucking see. I love how, like, these stories, like, looks are the paramount reason for people to get in a relationship. They're just hot. And that's why you should be with someone. Like, I just read a really good series, and every time this, across 4 books, okay? 4 books, a divorcee keeps getting told to go out with this one person because he's hot. That's the only reason her friends are telling her to date these guys, is because he's hot. Like, there are other things, okay? Anyways, I'm gonna find the title of the Vegas blind animal shelterist. I thought that was it, but it wasn't. So, um, yeah. Yeah, it's so bad. It's really bad, guys. It's so bad that that's quite literally all that there was to it. Our last, yeah, this is the last best book of my list. Oh yes. Okay. Whew. Okay. A Vow of Blood and Tears. This one was so good. Vampires and humans make a pact so that they can fight the Worgen. Okay, not necessarily werewolves, totally different. These are corrupt, dark, demon-esque werewolves, basically, but they're Worgen, okay? And um she grows up in a convent of vampire killing nuns. Okay. Um there's a pact between everybody that every 100 years, something like that, every 10 years, something. Um, no, only 10 years have passed since the war has ended, but part of the pact between factions was that a vampire, one of the vampire lords, there's 4 of them, uh, have to take a pure-blooded bride. Why is that important? Because the humans were raped and pillaged by the Worgen, so not all humans after the war are pure-blooded. So she happens to be one. She also happens to be deaf and mute. She only speaks using a form of sign language. A form of sign language that was invented by the mute monks, the silent monks, who are a warrior caste, just like the nuns. And that's how they communicate. So she learned this predominantly male language so she could communicate. And not all the sisters know it, and people kind of overlook her because, it's not a very wide known language. Some of the vampires know it because, of course, they fought with the Silent Brothers, the whole thing. This is a lengthy book. This is 732 pages, and it was gripping the entire way. She meets him. He is kind of a Beauty and the Beast type situation. He took on a curse to become a more powerful vampire to defeat the Worgen, and it has made him grotesque. Him and the other 3 lords went into this covenant and became grotesque versions of themselves. So this caveat that a human had to marry the vampire lords was a stipulation the humans put on the vampires because they knew no human or woman would want to, marry such a creature. He's very bestial. He is a giant bat, basically, and very beast-like from Beauty and the Beast. He is very kind, though, and he knows his visage is terrifying to many, including the vampires. But they look at him being noble because he took on the sacrifice, knowing he'd probably be alone and die by himself. Um, his entire life, you know. But the stipulation came and he was like, okay, maybe I can make this good. And, you know, I don't have to spend a lot of time with her if she doesn't want it, that kind of thing. He finds out that she's deaf and mute. And he's like, oh, of course she's not screaming, running away and screaming in terror. She can't. Um, they fall in love. And it's a very good story. I think you guys will really enjoy it. It's on this list, this very short list of the best books I read all year for a reason. It's very, very good. There is a second one. It follows another lord. I wasn't ready to read it yet, so I haven't. But it is very, very good. And honestly, a lot of these books I read in the second half of the year. There were not a lot of good ones from the beginning of the year. So if you guys are looking for some newer titles in the best of, I'm sorry, there weren't very many good ones. And so much so that I don't remember them. So that's got to say something. Okay. This is our last book. And I don't think anybody who has listened to this podcast for any length is surprised by this at all. Entwined is the biggest disappointment of this year's releases, of this year's reads. I hate this book. I loved this series. We did the episode and I remember telling Cass, no, we like it. We like it. We just didn't like this one. It's not satisfactory. It was disappointing for an ending. It is so slow. It's almost 1,000 pages. And it's all drivel. There could have been so much done with this. And I think the ARC readers did it. I think Rebecca Quinn sent out her ARC readers with her first draft because it was supposed to be released last year. I think she sent out the first finished draft of Entwined, and people did not have a favorable review for it. I think she probably cut back on the smut, and she had so much more going on with what was happening in Cyanide. And I think the opinions of the ARC readers are what ruined this book. Because there is a ghost book, whatever the hell that means. There is another book coming out that is what happened at Cyanide from the point of view of the characters that were in Cyanide. And I think they were meant to be in this. And I think they got cut. And I think that's what ruined it. I hate this book so much. And book 2 was so good. There was character assassinations everywhere in book 3. And I have not seen very many discussions about this book on YouTube. I saw a couple on TikTok, but I don't really have a TikTok. Like, we have a TikTok, but we don't use it because it's not really our medium. We're old ladies, okay? Like, sorry. Uh, I feel so bad for saying it, and I'm gonna get upset because we had such high hopes for this series. And every single thing that I've seen has said, this is way too slow. It's way too bogged down. What is going on with Jacob? And I think that everybody's really afraid of saying anything critical about it because we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But we can't expect better work if we don't get critical and offer criticisms. And this was awful. I mean, let's be fair. I'm supposed to be critical. I'm the critic. But Cassie, she's everyone's bestie. She always finds a silver lining in something. And if she even says, this was bad, you gotta know there's something wrong. I've reached out to Rebecca Quinn, asked her if she would join us on the podcast so we could discuss it. Just to ask some questions on why or how, or just clear some things up. And I think my comments get just deleted. Um, but I also don't see a lot of like, I'm on Reddit. I'm on Reddit, and I was talking to someone about it days after it was released. And people on there, it's so weird. People on Reddit, they don't give a shit. They will say whatever they want, and God bless them for that. Because other people were like, I'm ready to DNF because this is boring. Like there does not need to be three chapters with the same sex scene continuing. Yeah. God bless Reddit. That was 12 of the best and the worst things that I read this year. Uh The worst ones. I love that the worst ones I actually read mostly in the beginning of the year, rather than the end. That's awesome. It means I'm not just like remembering only the things in the beginning. Um, okay, so this coming season, again, it's not going to start up until after summer. We have our summer break coming up. We're going to take some time off, um, because here in California, it's just too bloody hot. And Nigel has his setup in the garage, and I'm not going to make him sit out there and try and deal with that. Here in my apartment, it's tiny, and the air conditioner is quite literally right there. And it is so loud that I am always trying to make sure my audio levels are correct so I don't blow out with the sound of the air conditioner. Uh, so we take the summer off, and I think that's where we're gonna have our season break. But this coming season, can expect that I am going to write some more short stories. I'm gonna try and do a short story every month, and then I'll post them on the channel so that you have a nice little earworm. I'm gonna try and stick to the parameters of the contests that I've been entering. Um, I'm also not going to do a goal for the year because like I didn't want to try and race for a number again. And my husband and I discussed it. And even if I was like, okay, well, I'm only going to read the books that are already downloaded in my library because I participate in stuff your Kindle days. I have like over 700 titles that I've never read that are just there that I own. Maybe I could get through as many of them as I could this year, even if it's just getting rid of them. But then he's like, no, you're just then doing it again. You're just racing for a number. So I don't want to do that. Um, I've thought about reading only old books, i.e., books published 2020 and older. Only reading things published 2020 and um, newer. Only reading standalone books. Only reading series. Only reading books that are on my shelf because I do have things here that I need to read that I haven't yet. Only reading a set genre or only reading books that people recommend to me. I'm not going to do those. I'm just going to read and I'm going to keep count and we'll see how high or how low this goes. I'm not going to force myself to read a set number. I'm just going to read and we'll see where we get. Uh, I'm not racing. I don't care if it's a book a day. That would be kind of cool. That said, I said, oh yeah, I can read a 300-page book in a day. But let's be real. I work. Like, that's not. I love doing this podcast and this YouTube, but it's not paying my bills at all. Like, I don't make anything on this. I think last year we made 7 cents on the podcast. Yeah, that doesn't even pay the fee for a year of the podcast. So, yeah, no new goals. I am going to try and write, and I am going to try and post them, and I'll do it for the season. So maybe not 12 short stories for a season, because we don't have a 12-month season. But we can see from June to August. That's only like 2 months, and we'll see what I can do in 10. I do appreciate you guys for sticking with us for this extended season while we try and get things under control. I do appreciate you guys listening to my opinions on books. Please join our Discord where you can talk to us about books and things in the literary world. Our mods are great. Our co-hosts are great. We like chatting with people. Even if we don't want to hang out with people in person, we can hang out online. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You can find us on all platforms for podcasts, YouTube, and Instagram. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.